What's going on, everybody? My name is David Delano, and this is Rockets Daily, brought to you by Fan Arch. Recording this on the night of Tuesday, October 21st. Right now, looking at the end of the Warriors and Lakers game here. Got the Warriors up by 8 with about 2 minutes left to go. And we're going to talk about this opening day loss for the Houston Rockets. Going to go off of my just initial thoughts, initial reactions, just what I thought. Of course, we talked about before the game, win or lose. Weren't going to overreact. If the Rockets would have won, not going to get too high. Rockets lost, we're not going to get too low. And I do welcome you guys who are watching this on Wednesday or any time afterwards to go ahead and check out the previous episode. I dropped on Tuesday, dropped a little bit later in the day, but there's a lot of information in there that's still relevant. I give out my season win total, over under for the Rockets. I give my NBA Finals prediction, who I think is going to be in the finals and who's going to win it. So we'll talk about that on some other episodes, but I don't want to rehash everything I talked about yesterday. So go ahead and check that episode out for Rockets Daily. But here, we're going to go ahead and talk about the game. And one thing before we get into the game, go ahead and follow me here. Subscribe to the channel. Definitely would appreciate it. Help us get to 1,000. Love to get to 1,000 by the end of the month. That would be fantastic. You can also follow me on X on Get Sports Strong. So, NBA back on NBC, and it just definitely felt different. Definitely felt different. What the NBA on NBC means to me felt very old listening to all those guys who just had no guys out there just have no memory of watching Michael Jordan play or the NBA on NBC. I'll talk about that a little bit here. I want to focus on the Rockets, but first I'll say with the NBA on NBC coverage, the game was fantastic. I just have those memories of every time the NBA on NBC came, those monologues at the beginning, it felt like you were listening to a war documentary. Every game just felt so intense. Every game just felt so important. It could be game 21 of the season. Just the New York Knicks versus the Chicago Bulls, or the Miami Heat versus the Indiana Pacers. Like it no matter who was playing, it just felt so big. The NBA on NBC, and yesterday's game was the most fun for a while. The most I've enjoyed a regular season game in a while, especially in October. But the Rockets played well for most of the game. 125, 124 loss in double overtime. A lot to be happy about. Definitely some reasons for concern. So we're not going to overreact, but at the end of the day, the past, it happened, right? This obviously very recent past, and the present is really all that we have. The future, depending on how you look at life, it doesn't really exist yet. So all we have is this moment. So can't think about June, can't think beyond. We're gonna focus on what's currently going on. So any criticism, whatever, it's all respectful. We're not on the glass, we're not on the sky is falling or anything like that. But we definitely do have to point out some things that we see and what we think. So first thing that we have to point out is that played the best team in the NBA yesterday. However, they were without one of their best players. Jalen Williams did not play. Averaged 21.6 points per game during the regular season last year and 21.4 points per game during the playoffs. So obviously, that was a big deal. However, Rockets also on the road. And the Rockets played tough overall. Rockets played tough. Was one of those games though. It really felt to me for most of the game that the Rockets outplayed the Thunder, but did not come away with the win. A couple things that jump out, and I looked at the box score just the turnover disparity. 21 turnovers for the Rockets compared to 11 for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Overall, a couple things. Where should I begin? Okay, Kevin Durant, 47 minutes played, 0 for 4 from 3-point range. Got away with one at the end of the first overtime. Um, Trying to call timeout. Officials weren't looking at him. Officials were not paying attention. Couple things here from Kevin Durant. Like I said, keep in mind, 37 years old, new team, first game of the season. I get that. What did I like? I like the fact that the Rockets are a complete team. We knew that, but we saw that even with Kevin Durant at the beginning. Um, Guys not afraid to take shots. Amin Thompson, Jabari Smith Jr., Shangoon was balling, and we'll get to that in a minute. But Durant definitely got his touches, got his shots, went to him in some big moments. But it was not a situation where these guys are playing as a team. It was not a situation where it's give the ball to Kevin Durant and everybody else stand around and watch. It was not a situation where the Rockets were looking for Kevin Durant for them to play hero ball. Rockets played with confidence. They did. They played with confidence, and this is showing that Kevin Durant does not need to be the hero, even though it was a loss. Still playing the best team in the NBA. I know they're out with one of their best players. We're playing Oklahoma City on the road. So that's encouraging. What does concern me, though, 47 minutes in the first game. Encouraged that the Rockets don't need Kevin Durant to play hero ball. But I don't think, and the reason for that, I don't think Kevin Durant playing hero ball is going to be the recipe for success. Wonder how many games he's going to go. Like I said, it was just the first game of the season. 5 for 6 from the free throw line. Matching, 88% career free throw shooter. Did miss a big one at the end of regulation. That did have, it wasn't the sharpest game for Kevin Durant overall. Had some turnovers there. Amin Thompson, another positive, and also a concern here with Amin Thompson. First of all, just as a basketball fan, even beyond the Rockets, I really love Amin Thompson's game. Love the way he played. I love the way that he was so aggressive. 0 for 7 from 3. Just inside the line early on when he knocked down a long jumper. 8 for 10 on 2-point field goals. Attacked the basket, was aggressive. 18 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, 39 minutes. Looked good playing point guard. Now, did have some turnovers, but big concern with Amin Thompson, obviously, in overtime, into regulation. Forgetting exactly what moment that was down the stretch. The game was so long. Well, first overtime into regulation is kind of blurring together. But when he cramped up, had to come out the game. I believe at the end of toward the end of regulation, final minutes. It really makes you think. I mean, we're already down Fred VanVleet for the season. When that happened with Amin Thompson, and then we're going with Josh Koji and Reed Shepard, it really does bring to the light those concerns with the backcourt. As we've talked about guard depth, just to complete exhaustion. Talked about so many different free agent guards, so many different options out there. First game of the season, obviously expecting Amin Thompson to go. Looked like a guy who should be favored to get the most improved player award in the NBA. But, some of the concerns there. When you see game one, cramping up, had to come out of the game. It does show throughout the course of this season, 82 games, there's going to be some moments where guys are going to get banged up, guys are going to get injured. It's going to be the next man up, as it was. And with Fred VanVleet already out, right now playing without Dorian Finney-Smith, I mean, it really does show thin at the point guard position. Reed Shepard, he played hard, did some impressive things early on, blended in well. But the more minutes Reed stayed on the court, I did see some flaws. One of my props was for him to have over 1.5 turnovers. He had two, although it took overtime for him to get to that second one. But it was in a big situation. Thunder were playing great defense on Durant, but Reed Shepard had the ball in his hand for about 14, 15 seconds, and you kind of knew something bad was probably going to happen. 3 for 11 from the floor. We did not see Aaron Holiday. We did not see J.D. Davidson. I not expected to see them, but when Amin Thompson had to leave the game, it really does show how thin things can get at the point guard position. And I do like Reed Shepard's effort. I think that he is trending in the right direction. But when you start to think about if this is an NBA championship team, I think at some point, we'll have to see what the options are. But I think that they're going to see another point guard coming in at some point because, like I said, Amin Thompson, still very, very young, played a nice game, cramped up. He's going to be guarding, the best defensive player night in and night out as he, spent so much time guarding SGA. On the offensive end, obviously, we'll see. First team All NBA, all defense for Amin Thompson, but he also comes to running the offense, playing the point guard position on the other end of the floor. He's going to definitely need some help. Is Reed Shepard going to be, and even beyond Reed Shepard, right? I think we're going to need some more depth there. Is Aaron Holiday, J.D. Davidson? We'll see. We'll see what happens. But point guard depth still a concerning factor for me. Another thing too, we can talk about some positives. Some positives as well because not there still were a lot of things to feel great about Şengün. And I said yesterday, top 10. Probably going to be top 10 MVP voting, man. He might be top 5. So many lists have, and I know it's just one game, but it's also more, for those of us who are following what he did for Turkey in the Eurobasket tournament. 39 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists. I want to say missed a potential game winner. There was a lot of contact on that play. I understand why the officials did not want to call it. I personally would not have called it a foul either. There were definitely some breaks on both sides, but love the game that Şengün played. Jabari Smith Jr. went through some stretches. There were some highs, there were some lows. I thought that down the stretch, though, he shot the ball with confidence. He made some big shots down the stretch. Was off the mark on the potential game winner, which was a tough one. I'm there. Şengün was not open, and didn't really look like Reed Shepard was a true option to try to get open. I was kind of curious if they would maybe try to run something more for Reed, but Oklahoma City Thunder, excellent team, excellent defensive team. Another area last year, that obviously 3-point shooting was a weakness. Rockets just went 11 for 39, 28.2% from 3-point range. Oklahoma City Thunder 13 for 52, 25%. We'll see how that goes during the season, but a lot of it was outstanding defense. But Amin Thompson 0 for 7, Kevin Durant 0 for 3, Tari Eason 1 for 4. Tari, was a shaky. Love Tari, as it does, a lot of the intangibles, a lot of the dirty work, but wasn't the strongest performance for Tari yesterday overall. Offensively, one of those games where a lot of times, sometimes the role players don't perform quite as strong, and he did struggle from the floor overall. So you look at, from the 3-point shooting, Tari Eason, Kevin Durant, and Amin Thompson there. You got a 1 for 15. Shane Kuhn, 5 for 8 from 3-point range. Reed Shepard, 2 for 7. Josh Okogie, 1 for 3 overall. So some things to be encouraged about overall. I didn't see a lot of Clint Capella. Did see Steven Adams playing a lot of minutes over there overall. But the centers overall with the plus minus, something we look at after the fact. Şengün led the team with a +9. Clint Capella just 8 minutes of work, but +5, and then we had Jabari Smith Jr. and Steven Adams at +2. Definitely would like to know what you guys' takeaways are from this game, the good, the bad, the in between. You feeling good about it? I definitely think that the Rockets and Thunder right now look like the two best teams in the NBA. Denver Nuggets, I know that they're in that mix as well, but I think I like the Rockets' chances against anybody out of the Eastern Conference. Only time will tell, but wasn't the sharpest Kevin Durant. Definitely had some mistakes. Did not shoot the ball well from 3-point range. Concerned, Ahmed Thompson coming out of the game. Had a tough assignment, man. SGA he's just one of those guys. I know at the end of, he made that shot to send the game in overtime. I'd be curious to know what Coach Udoka was saying to Ahmed Thompson, because, that's a tough assignment. Got Kevin Durant in overtime to foul out of the game. Really, toward the end of overtime, the biggest thing that prevented was Durant not being on the floor for the chance to take a potential game-winning shot. But some of my takeaways from this first game overall, still very encouraged about where this Rockets team is. Chet Holmgren had a very, very strong game for the Oklahoma City Thunder, but I think the Rockets battled. I took them +7.5. I stayed away from it outright. Didn't want to predict the Rockets to lose, but we kind of knew it was going to be an uphill battle. So 3-0 now, though, on my against the spread, picks for these sportsbook picks for these games. And then over there on Dabble, you guys can check that out. Promo David Delano, DAVID DELANO. Dabble gets you $25 free to play with. You don't even have to deposit $1. It's over there on Dabble. And did 3 plays on that. Dabble, you piece them all together, so you either win or you lose. So we did lose because we had 2 out of 3. But the loss was with Hartenstein, who did not get over his points and rebounds. But Şengün went over for the rebound and assist prop, and Reed Shepard, unfortunately, went over on the turnover prop of 1.5. He committed 2 turnovers. So 2-1 on our player props if you were going straight up, but 0-1 on the player prop parlay. And did hit with the Rockets at +7.5. Want to know you guys' reactions. Like I said, these are just the quick takeaways for me. What is next for the Houston Rockets? Well, Friday night got a home opener against the Detroit Pistons. Should be fun. Detroit Pistons. Talk about that a little bit more tomorrow, because the Pistons do open the season on Wednesday night on the road against the Chicago Bulls. So the Detroit Pistons are going to be playing their second straight road game, and that's going to be a tough matchup, for the Rockets. Obviously, feel like we should beat the Pistons. Pistons did come to Houston and won last year. Pistons a strong team, man. Team with Eastern Conference can be wide open. I don't really think that the Pistons are going to come out of the East, but they definitely have those aspirations over there. Definitely before the game, we will get into our predictions once those lines drop for Friday's game against the Detroit Pistons. And does worry me a little bit, because this game had such a playoff type vibe to it. Very intense. Good thing that the Rockets now do have 2 full days off, where the Bulls will have 1 day off, because early in the season, you're still playing, like I said, coming home, there's going to be a lot of emotion. You're playing a tough Detroit Pistons team. We saw guys play a lot of minutes, including Kevin Durant, playing 47 minutes at 37 years of age. So, like I said, it's all a marathon. You are a little, you got a lot of usage early on. Have to manage those minutes, but after the Detroit Pistons, playing the Brooklyn Nets on Monday, which I don't think anybody is expecting that to be a loss. So Detroit Pistons on Friday, Brooklyn Nets on Monday at the Toyota Center, and then hit the road for a stretch between Toronto and Boston for coming back home to play the Dallas Mavericks on Monday, November 3rd. Overall, though, still encouraged for the Rockets season. Overall, just one game, but a little bit disappointing. Not the best game from Kevin Durant. I do definitely think better things are going to be to come. Was a tough matchup. He is still 37 years old. Rockets, though, they do have a team. But biggest, I think, like I said, my biggest concerns, going to be the durability of Kevin Durant. Not someone who you're going to want to, like I said, he's not going to carry this team. That's fine. But just wondering about his durability at 37 years old because he played a lot of minutes. Worried about the backcourt depth. I mean, we saw game one. I mean, Reed Shepherd, big situation. Did some nice things at times. Was able to blend in with the team. Did well when he didn't dribble too much or have the ball for too long and got away with it quickly. Like we saw a costly turnover in overtime when Reed had the ball a little bit too long sometimes. And even finishing at the rim, sometimes when Reed has the ball a little bit, you don't have a lot of confidence that the possession is going to end well, unfortunately. And then Amin Thompson having to leave the game early, kind of forcing Reed Shepherd to Koji in there in crunch time. Does give me concerns about our backcourt depth. But let me know your comments, what you thought about the Rockets opener, and anything going forward as we look at this game for the Detroit Pistons. My name is David Delano. This has been Rockets Daily. Subscribe, please. Go ahead and subscribe. Leave a comment, any comment that you like. Thanks so much for watching. God bless, and we will see you tomorrow.